Today we will solve a numerical of transportation that is related to your NWCM method. In the last lecture, I have explained some methods that was NWCM method, least cost method, that is matrix mirror method, and Vogel approximation method. So today we'll solve the example, or you can say that question of NWCR. Okay, so here a question is given in which there is five destination P, Q, R, S, and T. Okay, these are five destination, and these are the A, B, C, R source. Okay, so from these sources we have to send the product from P, Q, R, S, and T. This is a numerical. Let's I am showing a numerical to you. You have to consider this problem. Consider the problem discussed in example to illustrate the NWCM method to determine basic feasible solution. In the last lecture, I have explained what is the basic feasible solution. So in this example, we will get the basic feasible solution by NWCM method. Okay. So these are the five destinations P, Q, R, S, T, and A, B, C are the source. And the requirement of all the destination is given here. The requirement of destination P, that is agency. These are you can also say that the P, Q, R, S, and T are retail agencies. Okay, and A, B, C are warehouses from where the product has to send to these retail agencies. So the requirement of retail agency P is 100 units. Okay, the requirement of retail agency Q is 60 unit, and the requirement of retail agency R is 50 unit. The requirement of retail agency S is 50 unit, and the requirement of T agency is 40 units. Okay, and the capacity of warehouse A, that is 50, capacity of warehouse B, that is 100, and the capacity of warehouse C is 150. So these are the warehouse from which the product has to send to different retail agencies named as PQRST. Now, according to the NWCR method, as I told you in the previous method, I also discussed the steps of the NWCR method. Okay, so I'm showing uh, this. This is the method of NWCM. So what was the first step? The first step was related to your the first left top corner. In the first left top corner, you have to allocate as minimum as possible between the capacity and requirement. Okay, this select the northwest either upper left hand corner cell of the transportation table and allocate as many units as possible equal to the minimum between available supply and demand requirement. That is your here this column. This is a particular, this rectangle which is selected is called your cell. So first of all, we will allocate as possible as unit which is minimum between the capacity and requirement. Okay. So according to in situation, this situation which is minimum, here the requirement is 100 unit and the requirement of retail agency P is 100 units and the capacity of warehouse A is 50 units. So which one is minimum? That is 50. So we will allocate 50 units to this cell. Okay. So I'm inserting a circle to allocate 50 units. Okay. I am inserting this. Now I have inserted 50 units. Okay. I have inserted now. This 50 unit is allocated to retail agency P. Now, the capacity means the available units in the warehouse A has been finished now. Now it means there is no units left in the warehouse A. So we will uh, draw a line to this. We will draw a line to cut this source. Okay. Now I have got this line. Let's इसको थोड़ा सा bold कर देते हैं. Okay. Now I have closed this. This is now I have ये मैंने इसको 50 यूनिट को काट दिया. Why? Because we have allocated all the 50 units to retail agency P. Now, according to the second step, adjust the supply and demand numbers in the respective rows and column allocation. Now, we have to adjust this requirement and capacity. So, by the adjustment, this unit of 50 has been finished now. And how many requirement is left with retail agency P? That is 50, because its requirement was 100 unit and it has fulfilled by a source, that is only 50 units. The requirement of 50 units is still left. So okay, so after allocating 50 units, the 50 units are left. So after we will remove the 50 units and we will write here the left units, that is 50 units. Okay. Now 100 units की जगह अब 50 units हो गया. Now move ahead. Next step. Your next step is, if the supply for the first row is exhausted, that is really exhausted, the supply for the first row is exhausted, means this is the supply, so this is exhausted. So what will happen? Now then move down to the first cell in the second row. It means move down the first column in the second row. This is our first column and second row. Okay. And first row and go to step second. And what is step second? This. Adjust the supply and numbers in the respective rows and column. Now we have to again adjust this. So the requirement of retail agency is P. Okay. But the warehouse B has 100 units. So it will take only 50 units. So again, we will allocate 50 units to P from the source B. Okay. So we will allocate 50 unit to this. Okay. Now, the requirement of retail agency P has been fulfilled now. So we will cross it here. You can also draw a horizontal or vertical line as your supply or requirement as we finish. आप जो है इसको ऐसे सीधा सीधा एक हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन या वर्टिकल लाइन के जरिए भी इसको क्रॉस कर सकते हैं, जैसा कि मैं यहाँ पर अभी कर रहा हूँ. जैसे हमारे पास ये सप्लाई खत्म हो गई थी, तो हम इसको एक ऐसे जो है ये इस तरह की एक लाइन खींच करके हम पूरी रो को कैंसिल कर सकते हैं, जिसकी भी ओवर हो जाती है. ठीक है ना. एंड वी कैन ऑल्सो, ये हम इसी को, हमारे इससे रो हो गया, और ऐसे ही हम इसको कॉलम के जरिए भी कर सकते हैं. ठीक. हम इस वाली कॉलम को भी कट कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ retail agency P has been fulfilled now. Okay. Now, what is the next step now? Again, if for अगर हमारे पास सेकंड वाले कॉलम में नहीं होता, तो फिर हम इस वाले को देखते हैं. If the demand for the first column is satisfied, then move horizontally to the next cell in the second column and first row and go to step 2. Means if the here capacity of warehouse A has some units, then we will go to the next column. It means column second in the first row. But here the requirement of P has been over in the second row, because warehouse A has only 50 units. So supply of 50 units has been over. So we will move to the next row, that is second row in first column according to the condition A. Now, if for any cell supply equals demand, then the next allocation can be made in cell either in the next row or column. Okay. So, but here the supply and capacity is over now. So we will move in the next column. The next column is second. So how many units are left with the warehouse B? That will be 50 units. Why? Because we have already allocated 50 units to P from the warehouse B. So here 50 units will be left. Okay. So this is written down here. Now move ahead in the second column. So how many units can be allocated in the retail agent to the retail agency Q, which is the minimum between capacity and requirement. The capacity is P and requirement is capacity is 50 units and requirement is 60 units. So we will allocate 50 units to the retail agency Q. So we will allocate this 50 unit to the retail agency Q. We have allocated this. Now the capacity of warehouse B has been over now. So we will cross it. Okay. So we will cross it. This I have crossed this column or this units. Now what is the requirement of Q now? After getting the 50 units, the requirement of Q will remain be 10 units, because the requirement 50 units has been fulfilled by warehouse B. So how much will be requirement is now? This is 10 units. So after crossing this 60 units, we will write down here 10. Okay. Now move ahead. The requirement of R, since the warehouse now don't have any unit of product, so we cannot supply from the B. Now the requirement of R will be fulfilled by warehouse C, because there is no unit in B and A. So to fulfill the requirement of R, we will go to the next column. From here, third column. Okay. Sorry, second column, which is the requirement of 10 units of retail agency Q. So we will allocate 10 units to the requirement to the retail agency Q. So we will allocate 10 units. 10 units to the yes, 10 units. We have allocated 10 units to the retail agency Q. Now the requirement of Q has been fulfilled now, so we will cross it. Okay, so we will cross it. And from where Q has got these units? From the warehouse C. So after giving 10 units, how many units will be left with the warehouse C? That is 140 units. So after crossing 150, we will route down here. That is 140 units. Okay. Now move ahead. The requirement of R is 50 units. Okay, and the supply of warehouse C is 140 units. So which one is minimum between 140 and 50? That is 50 units. So we will allocate 50 units to the R. Okay, so let's allocate this 50 units to the R. This we have allocated 50 units to the R. So how many units are left with warehouse C after allocating 50 units from the 140 units? C has 90 units. Okay, because C has given 50 units to the retail agency R. So we will cross the 140 and write down here how much? 90, because he has given 50 unit to the R. So the requirement of R is completed now. So we will cross it completely. Okay? We will cross this 50 unit now. Again, what is the requirement of retail agency S? So the requirement of retail agency S is 50 units. Okay, but how many units are in warehouse C? That is 90 units. Okay, so we will allocate the 50 units, because why? Because between the 19 and 50, which one is minimum? That is 50 units. So we will allocate this 50 units to the retail agency S. Okay, we have allocated this. Now we will cross the requirement of S because it is completed now. It has been fulfilled. So we will cross the requirement of S because this requirement has been worked. Now, how many units are left with warehouse C? That is, after giving 50 units, the warehouse C has 40 units. So we will cross 90, and after crossing the 90, 40 units will be left. Okay. So C has now 40 units. Okay. Now the requirement of T is 40 units. And how many units are left with warehouse C? That is 40 units. So all the left 40 units will be given to the retail agency P. So we will allocate these 40 units to the P. Okay. Now check it again. The requirement of P was 100 units. So P have got the 100 units, 50 from the A and 50 from the B. The retail agency P have taken 50 units from the warehouse A and 50 units from the warehouse B. Okay. So the requirement of P is over now. How much unit required to the retail agency Q? The requirement of Q was 60 units. So Q has got the 50 units from the warehouse B and 10 units from the warehouse C. Okay. The Q retail agency have 50 units from the warehouse B and 10 units from the warehouse C. So he have got 60 units from two warehouses. Now, what is the requirement of retail agency R? 50 units. So total 50 units are supplied by warehouse C to the retail agency R. R has all the units from the warehouse C, from the one source. Here P have got his all unit from two sources. Q has got his all units from two sources, but the retail agency R has got all the units from one source that is C. Now, what was the requirement of retail agency S? That is 50. Okay. So from where he got from the warehouse C all the 50 units. Okay. All the 50 units of requirement has been fulfilled by warehouse C. Now, what is the requirement of retail agency T? That is 40 units. And from where he got from the warehouse C. So all the units that is required to the T has got from the warehouse C, that is 40 units. Okay. So all the units have been distributed. Now the requirement of P has been worn out, so we will cross it. So let us check now what was the capacity of all the retail agencies, that is P, Q, R, S, and T, and what was, sorry, capacity of A, B, and C, and what was the requirement of P, Q, R, S, and T. So let's uh, add here capacity. Okay, capacity added 50, 100, and 150. Okay, adds all these sum. Let's do auto sum. 300. So the capacity of warehouses A, B, and C is 300. So we will write down here 300. Okay. And what was the requirement of P, Q, R, S, and T? Write down here. The requirement of P was 100 units. The requirement of Q was 60 units. The requirement of R was 50 units. The requirement of S was 50 units. And the requirement of T was 40 units. So let us sum of requirement all the retail agencies. What was that? Was 300. So the requirement and capacity of both are same here. Okay. So we are looking here that the requirement and capacity of equal. So when the capacity and requirement is equal, or we can say that the supply and demand is equal, then our transportation problem is balanced transportation problem. Okay. So we can say that the transportation problem is balanced transportation problem. Now, after getting these allocations, we will find the basic feasible solution. Let us see the steps that I told you. Now, this is the process. Let us now we move vertically downward to sell this, and this is it. This is the all the process which I have told you by this example is given here. Okay, that how we have allocated all these units. Let's see. Okay, now, so what we have to do now, we have to multiply, and I told you what was these 1, 9, 13, 36, 51, 24, 12, 16, 21, 26, 23, 1, 33, and 14. These are the transportation cost per unit. These are the per unit transportation cost. Okay. It means to send 50 units, the per unit cost is 1. To send 50 units from B to P, the per unit cost is 24. And from B to Q, the per unit cost is 12 units. Okay. It means the cost associated with left of the cells that are not allocated means this 9, 3, 36, 51, 16, 21. Okay. So it means the transportation cost in these cells are 0. So there is no need to calculate with these cells or these costs. We have to calculate only those values which are allocated in the cells. Okay. So how many values are allocated? The first, that is AP1. Okay. AP1. A comma P. This is first. Second, B comma P. B comma P. Third, B comma Q. These are the address of cells. These are the addresses of cells that I am written here. B comma Q. Now C comma Q. Okay. C comma Q. C comma R. C comma R. C comma S. C comma S. C comma T. C comma T. These are the allocations. Okay. These are the allocations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's count here how many allocations. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. We have 7 allocations. Now, what we have to do? Now we have to find the initial basic feasible solution. And how we will get it? We will get multiplying by per unit cost and transported unit. We will multiply the transportation cost with unit that has been transported to different retail agencies. So in this situation, let us see. We have sent 50 units to retail agency P and the per unit cost is 1. So we will multiply 50 into 1. Okay. Second, now we have sent 50 units to P from the B and the per unit cost is 24. So we will multiply 50 into 24. This is second. We have sent 10 units to Q from the C and the per unit cost is 33. Okay. So we will multiply 10 into 33. We have sent 50 units from C to R and the transportation cost per unit is 1. So we will multiply 50 into 1. Now we have sent 50 units to retail agency S from the C and the per unit cost from C to S is 23. So we will multiply 50 into 23. Okay. And we have sent 40 units from C to T and the per unit, I think I have missing one thing, 50 BP. BP, AP, BP, PQ, and CQ, CR, CS. CS. We have to write down. I have missing this BQ. BQ is 50 into 12. You have to also look here. 50 into 12. Okay. Now, next is 33 into 10. 10 into 33. Next is 50 into 1. 50 into 1. Okay. Now, CS, the transportation cost can be found by multiplying 50 into 23. 23 is your per unit transportation cost and unit that has been sent from C to S, that is 50. So we will multiply 50 into 23. and the last retail agency, that is P, we have sent 40 units from C to T, and per unit cost is 26. So we will multiply 40 into 26. Okay. These are the transportation costs from the different sources to different retail agencies. Now, actually, we are solving this problem in the Excel sheet. So I'm applying a formula to solve this. Okay. So after applying equal to, let's get what 50. Okay. I'm directly multiplying. So after applying, this will be equal this. I'm applying formula. Uh, if all of you know about the formula in the Excel sheet, so you can better know. So by applying this formula, we can get direct result. Okay. So this is applying. This is 50 into 1. We will write equal here, and this 50 into 23 equal. This will be this will become this, and equal to 40 into 26, and after applying this multiplication formula, this will become. So these are the transportation costs from different sources, or you can say that from different warehouses to different retail agencies, or you can say different destinations. So we will add all these uh, transportation costs to find our basic feasible solution. So let's do auto sum. So how much? This is 4420. 4420. This is our basic feasible solution. Now we have to check optimality, but to check the optimality, we have different method. In now corner method. Okay. This we are solving this. So NWCM. These are the transportation costs. These are the transportation cost. Okay. This is your transportation cost, and I am writing down IBFS. IBFS. This is your initial basic feasible solution, that is 4420. Okay. So after solving this transportation method by the northwest corner method, the basic feasible solution is 4420. Let's check the answer. So the problem that I told you in the Excel sheet, this is the problem. Okay. These are the factories and these are the retail agencies. Capacity of the factory 1, 2, 3 is 50, 100 and 150. And the requirement of retail agencies 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 100, 60, 50, 50 and 40 units. So after solving, the initial basic feasible solution is your this. This is written down here. Let's see this. Okay, I am increasing the size. This. Okay, this is the solution. So your initial basic feasible solution is 4420. So our answer is matching. So here we have solved the NWCM method by the NWCM method of transportation. So this method is total completely now. In your examination, you can solve the NWCM method if when this is asking. Otherwise, you have to apply RAM method. If there is no specification to solve any method, solved by any method, so you have to apply RAM method. And when you will check the optimality test, so you have to also apply RAM method. You can also apply this method, but you have to prefer RAM method to check the optimality test in the most of the cases. Okay, either you can apply any of these. So this is the complete NWCM method. In the next turn, we will see the least cost method, that is matrix minimum method. Okay, so if someone have any problem, so you can ask. अभी मैं जो है इस पूरी प्रॉब्लम को एक बार हिंदी में समझाऊंगा। पहले मैं रिकॉर्डिंग क्लोज कर दूंगा, इसके बाद मैं इस पूरी प्रॉब्लम को एक बार हिंदी में समझाऊंगा। लेट्स आई एम क्लोजिंग माय रिकॉर्डिंग।